We're talking about Jesus' authority. And we all know Jesus' authority. He's got authority. But he's also under authority. And being under authority is a great place to be. Well, I'm independent, yeah, but you should still be under somebody that's got authority over you to help guide you, to help lead you, to help strengthen you. And we'll see that this morning. So Luke chapter 7, we're going to read through it and we'll break it down afterwards. So we're going to read through it. We're going to go up to verse, it looks like 10. So just follow along with me. It says, now when he had ended all his sayings, in the audience of the people, he entered into Capernaum. And a certain centurion servant who was dear to him was sick and ready to die. And when he heard of Jesus, he sent to him the elders of the Jews, beseeching him that he would come and heal his servant. And when they came to Jesus, they besought him instantly, saying that he was worthy for whom he should do this. For he loves our nation, and he has built us a synagogue. Then Jesus went with them, and when he was now not far from the house, the centurion sent friends to him, saying to him, Lord, trouble not yourself, for I am not worthy that you should enter under my roof. Wherefore neither thought I myself worthy to come to you. But say in a word, and my servant shall be healed. For I also am a man set under authority, having under me soldiers, and I say to one, go, and he goes, and to another, come, and he comes, and to my servant, do this, and he does it. When Jesus heard these things, he marveled at him, and turned him about, and said to the people that followed him, I say to you, I have not found such great faith, no, not in Israel. And they that were sent, returning to the house, found the servant whole that had been sick. And Father God, help me through this teaching this morning, Lord, that there be relevance, God, there would be truth, God, there would be life, Lord, there would be life exchange. Lord, we just thank you again for who you are in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Now we're picking up here where Jesus got through with his Sermon on the Mount, if you will. Some people tell that it was actually more of a plain. He wasn't up on a mountain speaking to everybody. It was a flat level plateau where everybody was able to sit and gather, and he was able to teach them. And he taught them quite a bit. The last thing he finished up with was about building the house and where you build your structure and your strength and all of that. It has to be rooted and grounded. It's got to be grounded on a solid rock. If not, whenever storms of life come, it falls. Your life will fall. Your home, everything that you've built up will fall if it's not founded on Jesus Christ. And it's interesting. He goes right from that teaching right into being under authority and having authority. He said a certain centurion's servant. Now, who was the centurion? What were they? This is a Roman guard. This was a Roman official that had power, and he goes through later on, he describes what he's able to do. But he had a servant that was dear to him. Already, this guy is already setting a totally different standard for what a Roman centurion should be. This guy actually had a heart. He actually had care and concern. Most centurions, they treated their slaves just exactly like that, as dirt, as something to be walked on. And this centurion found it a different way. I believe that God had already been moving on the centurion's heart to do certain things. And it's interesting that here is a Gentile that God is using to minister and to be a blessing to the Jews. Which is, again, because of the disdain between the two, between the Jews to Gentiles and then, especially like the Romans to the Jews. This set a really interesting precedent. And it's a very short story. It gets in here and it's gone. It's only 10 verses. But you see, again, you have a Roman centurion, has a servant. And what does he do? He hears of Jesus. Interesting. Now you can imagine there was probably a lot of talk anyway at that time with Jesus, with everything that was going on, with people being healed, lives being changed, people being set free from demons, and just all kinds of stuff. People coming back from the dead, people receiving sight. Jesus just going around, this carpenter guy from Galilee out there just ministering to people. So the centurion hears of him, and he sent him elders of the Jews. These are Jewish leaders. They were sent to Jesus. It's interesting, again, that this Roman centurion had Jewish elders at his disposal that he could talk to and say, hey, I need you guys to go do this for me. And they went. But not only that, do you see their affection for him? So they went, the elders beseeching him that he would come heal his servant. And when they came to Jesus, they besought him instantly, saying that he was worthy for whom he should do this. Like, look, God, this isn't your normal centurion. This isn't a normal Gentile. This man is worthy. He loves the Jewish people. He's for us. He's not against us. He's actually, even though he's in charge, he's still serving us. It's so much that he even built them a synagogue, a meeting place for them to teach and share about God. Now mind you, Romans, they served many gods. And a lot of the times the god would be themselves. They would set themselves up as a god. But here's this centurion that actually took of his own money to build them a meeting place to talk about the one true God, to teach and to be able to extend God's kingdom. So they're trying to sell Jesus a little bit on this guy. It's like, look, he really is a good guy. He can do this. How often do we do that whenever we try to go to someone? Well, he's a really good person. They really are worthy for you to come. You really need to do this. Knowing Jesus, he already knew what was going to happen. He already knew where he needed to be at. But the fact that he was asked. I don't think he had to sell Jesus. Jesus always has compassion on people. We'll see in the next one. We're not going to get to today, but in the next one, Jesus has compassion on the people. Jesus' heart was always about others. It wasn't their status in life. It wasn't their job title or who they were in the public eye. It was their heart. Jesus was always after their heart and who they were. This guy's heart was already in the right place. So Jesus was going, verse 6, he said, and when he saw, he wasn't too far from the house, the centurion said, I'm not worthy to have this man come under my house, to come under my roof. That's a huge statement. I'm not worthy. This is a Roman soldier saying he's not worthy to have a Jew come under his roof. That's a big statement. He recognized Jesus' authority, recognized his power, and who he was and what he was about. He even goes on to say what? He said he wasn't even worthy that he would go to him himself, in verse 7. It's like, look, I'm not worthy to have you come under my roof, and I didn't really feel myself worthy to come to you. That's like being summoned by the king. All of a sudden the king just shows up at your house. What do you say? What do you do? This is the king. Why are you coming to my house? See, in America, we don't really have that concept of rulership like that. We have a president, and that's whatever it is, but we don't have a concept of king, queen, that type of authority to where the king was the end all. Okay? For the king to show up at someone's house just to show up, that didn't happen. And a true servant would say, just like this man did, I'm not worthy to have you in my house, and I'm not worthy to be in your presence. Reality is that without Jesus Christ, we're not worthy to be in God's presence. We're not worthy to even call on his name without Christ. Although the world does it all the time. Even non-believers, the first thing they call on is God whenever they get to him. Oh, God! But you don't believe in God. Why are you calling on him? He's not king in your life. He's not Lord of your life. You use his name as a byword or a cuss word. You don't even know who he is. People use the GD word all the time, and they wonder why their life's going to hell in a handbasket. Well, you just ask God to damn everything that you have. Good job. See, God has a way of answering prayer sometimes when you consistently seek him on certain things, and you keep saying that about things. No wonder things are what they are. I met a man one time who was talking about his wife, his kids, his job, and everything else was all GD this, GD that, and his marriage was falling apart. His kids would have nothing to do with him. His job was absolutely horrible. It was working him into the ground. Everything that he'd asked God to do that for, God did it. Then he was surprised that it happened. I said, that should be evidence enough in your life that God is real. Because you just asked him to do all these things, now he's done it. Now what are you going to do? God is God. He is Lord. I have a quote down here in the bottom of my text that says, you cannot say no, Lord, and mean both words. One annuls the other. If you say no to him, then he is not your Lord. How do you say no to the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords? It's one to say, I'm not worthy. That's a matter of respect. That's a matter of comprehending who this person is and what they're about, their position. It's a whole other thing to say no. That's a refusal. You don't tell the king no. You don't tell God no. Because if you have the authority to tell him no, then he's not God. At least in your life. God will honor your wishes. But that also means he's not God. He's not Lord in your life. But he talks about the authority. He recognizes Jesus' authority. He recognized that Jesus didn't even have to show up for his servant to be healed. Pretty impressive. He said, look, I recognize your authority. Whenever you speak to the demons, they leave. When you speak to the illness, you rebuke the illness, it leaves. It's gone. Jesus had supernatural authority. That all thing he had to do was say the word, and it would come to pass. And this centurion recognized that. He said, you don't even need to come to my house. I know if you just say the word, it'll happen as you said. That also shows trust. How many of you believe what God's word says? Some of us answer pretty quick on that one, but do we really? When we get trials that come our way, when we get struggles that come our way, we're very quick to run away from God's word instead of running to God's word. Instead of getting to, man, what does the word say about the situation? What is God's promise? Now, does God mention everything in here? When the car breaks down, is there anything about mechanics in the Bible? No. But He's the Lord that supplies all my needs. He's my provider. He's a strong tower. He's a refuge that I can run into whenever things go bad. I can run to Him and find His peace and find His joy, find His direction. But it doesn't say nothing about that. There's big picture ideas in here that cover everything. Any possible situation you can go through, it's covered in here. It may not say the word specifically, but the umbrella that goes over it is there. He knew Jesus' authority. How many of you actually truly recognize Jesus' authority in your life? Or are you too busy trying to be the authority in your life? Without Jesus being Lord of Lords and King of Kings in your life, the supernatural will not happen. It's not one. There's no way it can happen because you're stepping to the place of God whenever you do that. But if you get to the place where you can recognize His authority over your own and you submit to Him, the supernatural can happen. Without even have to. The centurion didn't have to do anything special. He didn't have to do any type of rituals. He didn't have to do any type of craziness. He just simply sent the leaders to Jesus, hey, would you please come? And the more he thought about it, I was like, I can't have this guy under my roof. There's no way. I'm not worthy. Look at who I am. But I recognize your authority because I understand authority. I understand the concept of authority. He was under authority. But he also had authority. In our lives, we need to have someone that's in authority over us that we can turn to for leadership, for guidance, for understanding that we may not have. But as we grow, God will put people underneath us that we're in authority over and that we're responsible for. And we lead. And it's not a bad place to be, but if you ever want to be a good leader, you need to be subjected to somebody else's authority. The first authority you need to be under is that of Jesus Christ. His authority and His alone. His work. His way. And Jesus didn't even say nothing about the child being healed, did He? What's the rest of the text say? Let's go back through it. When Jesus heard these things, He marveled at him and turned him about and said to the people that followed Him, I say to you, I have not found so great faith, no, not in Israel. He didn't say nothing about this child being healed. He said, I've not found greater faith in all of Israel. He's talking about the Jewish people. That's kind of a slap in the face to them. Because he had all the Jewish leaders sitting there following around. The Pharisees were good at it. They had nothing better to do but follow Jesus and see where they could trip him up. They didn't understand spiritual authority. They thought they were the spiritual authority. He said when they went back, those who returned to the house found the servant whole that had been sick. You know what moves Jesus? Faith. You know what pleases Jesus? Faith. The Bible says it's impossible to please God without faith. If you don't have faith in God, you're not going to ever please Him. You can do all the good works, you can do all the sacrifices, you can do all those things. But if you don't have faith in who God is, nothing you do, nothing you can do will matter. Doesn't matter how good you are. Doesn't matter how much you tithe or don't tithe, or how much you put in the offering plate or don't put in the offering plate. Unless you have faith in God, it's meaningless. Unless you have trust in the Lord, that He is Lord, and you've allowed Him to be Lord of your life, then everything you do really is for naught. Not that we give to God to get, and not we do for God to get from Him. We do for God because we love God. Because what He first loved us. And the fact that He sent His Son and died for us. It always comes back to Jesus. Always comes back to His authority. Always comes back to His love. His grace and His mercy. He had compassion on the servant. It's huge. And in fact, the centurion had faith enough to say, man, Jesus, you can just say the word. I'm reminded of the other ones that he asked Jesus, Jesus, if you will, I could be made whole. And Jesus said, I will, and the man was made whole. Because why? He knew that Jesus only had to say the word. See, when we're seeking God, we just got to come to that place and understand that if he just says, I will, I can be made the way I need to be made. The situation I'm going through can be made right. The struggle that I'm going through can be set in the right course. Even though I know I'm on the water and I'm starting to sink, I know Jesus is able to pick me back up and put me where I need to be at. But the first step of that, of faith, is getting out on the water. Peter had to get out on the water for Jesus to move. Jesus was already there. He's already meeting them where they were at in their time. If you read the story, Jesus actually just kind of planned on going by them and meeting them on the other side. But they were so afraid. They were scared. That Jesus didn't really help it. He looked like a spirit to them. And he tells them, hold on, fear not, guys. It's me. Peter's like, okay, yeah, but you tell me to come on. Okay, come on. Peter jumps out the boat. Maybe you're going through a fearful situation right now. And God's telling you, come out of the boat. I'm right here. I've got you. Come on. Jump out here where it's not comfortable. Jump out here where you don't know, and all you can do is trust in me. But he's telling you to come. He's telling you to come to him. Jesus is walking on water, and he tells you to do the same. I think he's got you. There's other times where Jesus was asleep in the boat. He was resting through the storm. Maybe some of you need to find that place of rest in him and his authority and who he is. And no matter, even though you're going through it right now, find your rest and hope in him and sleep through the storm and let Jesus carry you. Jesus has all authority over every situation. And we can take hope in that. We can take refuge in that. We can find our shelter in him. Amen? I don't have a long message for this morning. But I have enough to say that Jesus is King of Kings and Lord of Lords in your life. He is the great I am. He's made a promise he will never leave you nor forsake you. He's there to heal you. He said, by his stripes we were healed. He redeemed us. He paid a price we couldn't pay. And he loves you this morning. If you're sick, come to him. If you're weary, come to him. If you're heavy laden, come to him. We've got to, as a church, as a fellowship, we've got to come to him. There's nowhere else we can go, nowhere else we can turn to that's going to get the job done. When we're walking by faith, not by sight, God moves. I think about David getting the job, we've been trusting, Lord, you're going to provide. Lord, you're going to provide. God provides. They don't know how, don't know when, just got to trust. And God provides. But in the meantime, what? I'm going to serve you, Lord. Whatever capacity I can serve, I'm going to serve. Until you call me to do something else. I'm going to stay faithful in what I got to do. Some of you are like, Lord, I don't know what to do. Why don't you try praying? How about you just start showing care for one another that's here? Wait on the Lord. He will direct your steps. It also says that the footsteps of the righteous are ordered by God. And if we have accepted Christ, he orders our footsteps. Sometimes we kind of question where he puts our feet. He's God. Some of you got changes coming up in your life. Some big changes. That's okay. If God has called you through it, he'll bring you to it, right? He'll take you all the way through. All the way to the other side. Trust him. Trust his leading. Trust his authority. Trust the compassion that he has for you and the love that he has for you, that he will not fail you. Stay under his umbrella. Stay in his hands. Let him move in your life. Amen? Amen. Let's pray. Heavenly gracious Father God, I thank you. Lord, I want you to